Well, when I thought about that, I said family, forest, music, community, cornbread, and paradox.
Oh.
Because having grown up in the mountains in Harlan County with all four of my grandparents in the same vicinity, there's no way I can separate my family from the mountains. And three of my grandparents were mountain born, so they had deep roots, East Tennessee and Eastern Kentucky. So the values of my family, the way of thinking in my family, the love of that place, identification with that place, are all very strong in my sense of Appalachia. When I think about paradox, I'm talking about the beauty of the place, the ugliness of what's been done to it, the wealth of the cultural wealth, the poverty that's been created by the absentee ownership, the extractive industries, the wonderful music and storytelling, but the lack of a voice out in the world. The poet and teacher Jim Wayne Miller talked about the need for Appalachian writers to send their own dispatches, not just be written about. And I mean, we've been doing that for some time, but there was a time when I grew up in the 60s during the War on Poverty, and so much was being said about the mountains, and I didn't know. I knew who Harriet Arno was, I knew who James Steele was, but I didn't have a sense of being part of a literary tradition. My sense was I better sound like I was from someplace else. My father loved music, and so we had a hi-fi, and there was always music, and my brother played the piano, and then I did, and then I played other things too, because and started writing songs and so forth. But the storytelling, it's just the way people talked. I remember having a friend from New Jersey when I was in college, and she came to visit us and spent Thanksgiving, I guess. And then in the summertime, I went to visit her, and after I came back, I wrote her and I said, "Are your parents shy?" And she said, "Heavens no, why?" And I said, "Because they never told any stories. They never told their stories." And she said, "You mean like your parents? Where did they get those stories?" But, it's a kind of communal memory, because some of the things happened before they were born. It's not like telling jack tales or something. It's like telling how we got stuck in the snow at the scout camp and just happened to have 2 toilet seats in the trunk and they work perfectly. It's that kind of thing. And my paternal grandparents were not readers at all, but storytellers, and so there are people in my family who were dead before I was born, but who are very real to me because of the stories I heard about them, which gave me a depth perception about my family, about my parents too. These are their grandparents and so forth. It's okay. Not that there isn't still work to be done in terms of diversity and welcoming people regardless of their socioeconomic status or their sexual identification or their race. I mean, I don't mean to say that everything is perfect, but I do think that it's unusual that if we were reading poems in here and somebody came in and they had a poem to read, we'd say read, as opposed to what are your qualifications? Who do you know? What have you published? How do we know you're the real thing? Well, you're the real thing because you've got a poem in your hand and you want to read.
Exactly.
So
it's your voice.
It's your voice, yeah. And so I think that's an unusual. So I would love for a child to have that kind of attachment and feel here's a story that's really special to them, because I think that helps you become a lifelong reader. And then if they might have the experience I was talking about with Counting on the Woods of seeing, oh, this is about where I live. This is my place, and we have books, and we have illustrators, and maybe I could do this. You know, the sense of our stories are important stories. We have a culture, you know. Not you wouldn't be thinking them in those words, but just the excitement of knowing that, seeing your place in a book, and these are my people.